There is a moment in your life, quiet, subtle, almost invisible, when everything you've been chasing stops running away from you. A moment when the thing you've been gripping so tightly finally falls gently into your hands. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally stopped reaching. Most of us are haunted by a feeling we can't quite name. It's not fear, exactly, not sadness, not loneliness. It's that restless pull, that constant belief that something is missing, something just beyond the horizon of your current life, something that, if you could just catch it, would make everything fall into place. We chase the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect version of ourselves, the perfect moment when everything finally feels right. And the chasing becomes a rhythm we don't even realize we're dancing to. You wake up in the morning, and before your eyes have even fully opened, your mind is already running toward the next task, the next achievement, the next thing that might finally make you feel like enough. You scroll, you compare, you imagine the future, you replay the past. You create these invisible finish lines in your mind, crossing them again and again, only to find there's nothing waiting on the other side. You are breathing, but you're not at peace. You are alive, but you're not fully here. You are moving, but you're not arriving. And perhaps the most painful truth is this: the harder you chase, the further everything seems to drift. Love becomes elusive, success feels slippery, inner peace feels distant, as if it belongs to another world entirely. You try to be better, more disciplined, more motivated, more evolved, more healed. But even the journey of healing becomes a performance, something you try to excel at. Everything becomes a chase. And maybe, just maybe, you're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep cures, but the tired that seeps into your spirit, the tired that whispers, there must be another way. Here is the paradox at the heart of spiritual understanding. What you chase must run. What you release can return. What you embody naturally comes to you. There is an ancient Sufi teaching that says, what you seek is also seeking you, but it cannot find you when you are running. When we chase something, we create distance. When we grasp, we create tension. When we cling, we create fear. Chasing is a declaration of lack, a silent confession that says, I am not enough without this. The universe responds not to your words, but to the energy beneath them. When you chase love, you affirm you don't have it. When you chase success, you affirm you're not worthy of it yet. When you chase inner peace, you affirm the chaos within. Chasing is not movement, chasing is fear, dressed as ambition. But something miraculous happens when you stop. There is a moment when the mind unclenches, the breath deepens, the heart softens. In that moment, space opens, and in that space, life can finally enter. Consider this wisdom from Zen. The breeze does not arrive because you chase it. It arrives because you are still enough to feel it. Life is not something you catch. Life is something you allow. The teachings of mystics across time all point to the same truth. When you stop running, reality can finally catch up to you. When you stop forcing, alignment naturally emerges. When you stop grasping, your hands are free to receive. The moment you stop chasing is not a moment of giving up. It is a moment of returning to yourself. So, how do you stop chasing? Not as a concept, but as a lived experience. You soften, you breathe, you observe instead of react, you release instead of grip. You allow instead of demand. Here is a simple practice. Pause. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your breath. And ask yourself gently, what am I running from? And what am I running toward? Do not judge the answer. Simply listen. Then ask, what if I stood still for a moment and let life meet me halfway? Stopping the chase doesn't mean abandoning your goals. It means detaching the panic, the fear, the desperation wrapped around them. Move with clarity, not craving. Move with intention, not insecurity. Move with presence, not pressure. And watch how the world responds. You have spent so long running toward life that you forgot life has been walking toward you this whole time. Slow down, be still, let yourself be found. The moment you stop chasing, life finally arrives. What if the thing you think you want isn't actually what your soul longs for? What if your chasing was never your desire, but the world's desires planted inside you? From childhood, we are taught that life is a race. Get ahead, achieve more, don't fall behind. We learn to measure ourselves against invisible rulers' grades, numbers, milestones, appearances, and slowly, without noticing, we become seekers of approval rather than seekers of truth. We crave validation like air. We crave recognition like nourishment. We crave certainty like safety. Most of our chasing is not for the thing itself, but for what we hope the thing will make us feel. We don't chase love, we chase the feeling of being chosen. We don't chase success, we chase the feeling of being worthy. We don't chase achievement, we chase the feeling of being enough. So we build entire lives on scaffolding that cannot hold us. We build identities around what we think others want from us. We build goals around what we think will finally silence the inner critic. We build dreams around what will make us someone in the eyes of the world. But here is the quiet tragedy. A life built on chasing can never lead you home, because home is the place you left behind in order to chase. In Sufi philosophy, the ego is called the veil, not an enemy, not a flaw, but a veil that covers the deeper nature of the self. The ego believes it must chase, it must collect, it must become more. But the soul does not operate this way. The soul only expands through presence, through awareness, through being, not becoming. Chasing comes from the mind, receiving comes from the heart. The moment you stop chasing is the moment the veil begins to lift. And in the quiet beneath the noise, you realize you were never lacking, you were never unworthy, you were never incomplete. You were simply misled by the illusion that fulfillment lives outside of you. The mystics say, you are the sky, everything else is weather. So long as you identify with the storm, you will chase clearer skies. But when you remember you are the vastness behind the clouds, the storm loses its power. Here is a simple truth you can practice. Every time you feel yourself chasing, pause and breathe into the sensation behind the chasing. Is it fear? Is it insecurity? Is it loneliness? Is it the sense that you don't trust yourself enough to let life unfold? Bring compassion to the feeling, not suppression, not resistance, just compassion. And then whisper to yourself gently, I choose presence over pursuit. Watch how the body softens. Watch how the mind loosens. Watch how the moment expands. This is not laziness. This is alignment. You are not failing. You are not behind. You are not late. You are simply shedding a way of living that was never meant for your spirit. The moment you stop chasing the world's definition of enough, you find the quiet, beautiful truth of who you already are. Not everything arrives faster when you push. Some things, the most important things, can only arrive when you become soft enough to receive them. Imagine standing in a river holding onto a branch for dear life. The current pulls and your muscles tighten. Your grip is iron. You fear letting go because you don't trust where the river will take you. This is how most of us live. Tension has become our default state. We grip our dreams, we grip our identities, we grip our relationships, we grip our fears, we grip everything because we don't believe life will hold us if we loosen our grasp. But the tightness costs us. It drains our energy. It keeps us stuck. It creates friction where there should be flow. You were not meant to live in a constant state of resistance. You were meant to move like water fluid, grounded, open to change. Here is one of the most profound truths found in Zen and Taoist wisdom. Life responds to your state, not your struggle. If your state is frantic, you attract chaos. If your state is desperate, you attract scarcity. If your state is relaxed, you attract clarity. If your state is open, you attract synchronicity. The universe is not moved by force. It is moved by alignment. Think of a flower. It does not chase the sun. It simply stands in its nature and the sun finds it. Think of the tide. It does not chase the moon. It responds naturally to its pull. Our deepest desires are not meant to be hunted. They are meant to be met. When you stop resisting, you drop into the natural rhythm of your own life. You stop trying to control outcomes. You stop trying to force timing. You stop trying to bend reality to your will. And in that surrender, your inner state shifts. The spiritual masters often say, surrender is not giving up. It is giving yourself back to life. When you stop chasing, you become receptive. When you stop forcing, you become available. When you stop grasping, you become magnetic. You begin to attract not through effort, but through essence. Here is a simple practice of non-resistance. When something doesn't flow, instead of pushing harder, ask, what am I clenching around? Notice where your body tightens. Notice where your mind narrows. Notice what emotion is demanding certainty. Then breathe into it. Softening is a spiritual practice. Allowing is a form of wisdom. Letting life guide you is an act of trust. You are not losing control by letting go. You are losing the illusion that you ever needed to control anything at all. The moment you stop fighting the river, it carries you. The moment you stop chasing life, it rushes toward you in ways you never imagined. Let yourself be guided. Let yourself be found. Let yourself flow. Life is not saying not yet because you're unworthy. Life is saying not yet because the version of you who is chasing is not the version of you who is meant to receive. We often assume that if something hasn't arrived yet, something must be wrong. We think we're not doing enough, not trying hard enough, not worthy enough, not healed enough, not spiritual enough. We take the delay personally. But spiritual timing has nothing to do with punishment. Everything in your life unfolds according to your readiness, not your impatience. Think of rain. It cannot fall before the clouds are full. Think of fruit. It cannot ripen before its season. Think of a butterfly. It cannot emerge before the cocoon has served its purpose. We want things before we're prepared to hold them. We want answers before we're ready to live them. We want growth without the discomfort that shapes it. But life is not withholding. Life is preparing. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you signal to the universe, I trust your timing more than my fear. In spiritual traditions across the world, readiness is a sacred principle. The Sufis teach that the heart has its own seasons. The Buddhists teach that understanding arrives when the mind becomes quiet. The Tao teaches that nothing blooms before its moment. Chasing disrupts your inner timing. It pulls you out of alignment. It creates a false urgency that does not serve your evolution. But when you step back, when you breathe, when you stop insisting that life must arrive on your schedule, you create the conditions for deep readiness. Here is the deeper truth. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared to receive. To receive love, you must become open, not desperate. To receive opportunity, you must become grounded, not frantic. To receive clarity, you must become quiet, not chaotic. The universe is not withholding your blessings. It is protecting them until you become the version of yourself who can carry them with grace. Here is your practice. Instead of asking, when will it happen? Ask, who am I becoming as I wait? Do not rush the becoming. Do not resist the preparation. Do not force life into a timeline that dishonors your unfolding. The version of you who is chasing is impatient. The version of you who receives is patient. The version of you who is chasing is fearful. The version of you who receives is trusting. The version of you who is chasing is tense. The version of you who receives is open. Every day, choose the version of yourself who is ready to receive, not the one who is desperate to chase. Life is not late, it is precise, and it is intimate, it is wise. The moment you stop chasing timing, timing finds you. There is a moment quiet, almost imperceptible, when everything shifts. A moment when you stop trying and start allowing. And without warning, life begins to move toward you. Imagine waking up one morning and feeling something you haven't felt in years. Spaciousness. Not because your world has changed, but because you have. Your mind is quieter, your breath is deeper, your heart is softer. You are no longer sprinting toward the future. You are no longer carrying the weight of every fear. You are no longer gripping the idea that happiness is somewhere else. You are simply here. The subtle miracle of stopping the chase is that life begins to reveal itself in the present moment. Beauty becomes louder. Synchronicity becomes more frequent. Opportunities become clearer. Love becomes closer. You begin to notice how deeply supported you actually are. How many signs, whispers, nudges have been guiding you all along, but you were running too fast to notice. When you stop chasing, you step into a new kind of power, the power of presence. Presence is magnetic. Presence is grounding. Presence is the language the universe responds to most clearly, because presence says, I am available, I am aligned, I am ready. Life has always been speaking to you, but only in stillness can you finally hear. Spiritual masters say, when the mind is quiet, the path becomes visible. This is why your greatest clarity arrives in silence. This is why your best ideas appear in calm moments. This is why peace feels like truth. When you stop chasing, you begin to experience what mystics have called the effortless path. A path where everything that is meant for you begins to appear without force. People show up, opportunities unfold, coincidences string together like beads on a thread. Life begins to orchestrate itself around your presence, and you realize something profound. Life was never withholding anything from you. It was waiting for you to become still enough to receive. Here is your final practice. choose one thing you've been chasing and release it, not forever, just for today. Release the mental grip around it. Release the fear of delay. Release the belief that you must force its arrival, and instead bring your awareness to the simple, immediate sensations of this moment: your breath, your body, your surroundings, the weight of your presence. Let yourself experience what life feels like without the tension of pursuit. You may discover something transformative. The things you've been seeking may already be closer than you think. You have spent so much of your life running toward a version of yourself that you thought you needed to become. But the truth is simple and beautiful. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You only need to become still enough to let it arrive. Life is not behind you. Life is not ahead of you. Life is here. Life is now. Life is arriving. And so, gently, fully, and without chasing, receive it.